Welcome back to another video. My name is Henrik and today we're going to be test driving the new Dacia Duster on the 2024 variant. We've already done the premiere, so if you want to check out all the details, everything you need to know in detail, video on the top right corner right there with all the extra details. In this video we're going to be test driving the TCE 140, the full hybrid variant, and then we're also going to do an off-road test in another video which you'll also hopefully find on the top right corner. So make sure to like, subscribe and comment down below what you think of the new Dacia Duster. So the starting price of the new Dacia Duster is going to be 18,950. The way that we have it standing here with the Extreme variant, the biggest motor in conclusion with 140 horsepower, is going to cost you almost 29,550 euros. This is the Extreme variant. One thing you ought to also notice between the all-wheel drive variant and the non-all-wheel drive variant is that, for instance, down here, it looks a little bit different than on the all-wheel drive variant because it allows you for a more of an approach angle in the front if you get the all-wheel drive system, and that we'll definitely notice once we're doing the off-road testing. If we go further onto the side, well, the front design much has changed. On the side, 4 meters and 34 long, Starkle side material here, which is out of 20% recycled plastic, stuff like that. We got some wheels on here. If you get the all-wheel system or all-wheel drive system, you'll also get all-weather tires standard-wise. Extreme variant, copper variant on the side here. And in general, 4 meters and 34, therefore a very compact car for the segment with also nice little styling in my opinion. If we go further onto the back, again, if you want to see the whole detail of this car, check out our full review. Okay, you're gonna have a hard time. You have to go into the grass now. But in the back with the Extreme variant, you get the copper design elements on here. A very nice and new design in the back. A very sturdy looking back in my opinion. And let's also quickly look at the trunk. You can open it. It has a nice little spring system in there. You can open that. 430 up to 1,478 on the full hybrid variant. The other one's gonna get around, I think, 100 liters more. So a little bit more, but still plenty of space. The one thing you are gonna have to get used to is that with the full hybrid, you're only gonna be able to tow 750 kilograms, which is not that nice, but you're gonna have to get used to it. Let's also take a look at the engine and then let's take it for a test drive. So the engine is going to be in the full hybrid variant, a 1.6 liter 4-cylinder engine, which you only get in this one. That's going to produce a 94 horsepower in combination with 2 electric motors, one producing 49 horsepower and the other one is going to be a 48 volt starter generator, which is just for a starter generator. And in total you also have a kilowatt hour battery, which is a size of 1.2 kilowatts an hour. And if you compare it to the mild hybrid system gets a 0.9 kilowatts an hour battery, so not too much of a difference right there. So one thing you notice straight away when stepping into this car is the bonnet. The way it is like sloped and stuff like that looks very, very nice in my opinion. Let's start off by driving here and putting it into start. We obviously have the automatic gearbox, so down here we can just plop it in there. It's going to go into drive. You'll notice there's no engine sound. That is due to the fact that we're driving in full EV right now. The claimed distance also claiming in total 840 kilometers with our combustion engine, and then you can see down here full hybrid system that's going to charge over time. That 1.2 kilowatts an hour battery is obviously going to charge itself up, regeneration. Okay, one thing I noticed straight away, the steering wheel it's very light, but there is a little bit of like resistance in there which wants to snap it back to the original position, which feels okay, but is a little bit interesting to get used to. But you're sitting way up higher. I can adjust this down further, but I'm sitting very high and I have the road. It's really clear. Like there is nothing that's blocking my view, and it just feels a little bit more SUV-like because you're sitting up taller. You'll also notice out the back, we actually have a fairly good view out the back in my opinion. Window is a little bit tight, but still you see everything that you need to. If you look on the C-pillar, that is a little bit bigger than you might have it on the previous model. But in general, the surrounding view is fairly decent. The car, in my opinion, when driving this, feels a little bit more bigger, feels a little bit more robust. If you look on the side, for instance, you can also see that it just feels a little bit more bigger. That was also the collision warning. But yeah, it feels a little bit more like a tank in my opinion. I don't know, just, from the outside it looks like a tank, and on the inside it also feels a little bit more tanky-ish. But also you notice it is very smooth off the accelerator with that EV kicking in, or the electrical motor kicking in. It feels very smooth and you're just gliding in the city. Up to 80% supposedly. That's how much you're supposed to drive in EV in the city, depending obviously on your drive mode. But that's gonna save you a lot of cost right here. We can see since the start, apparently 4.5 liters has been used, and we've driven this car, well, the people that have previously driven it, 51 kilometers in total EV. Don't know what the total distance was that they drove, but that is fairly decent. This is the same engine that we, for instance, had on the Jogger, so the Jogger also had the same kind of layout of the engine. That's has a very, very loud sound as well for the speed warning. With the new CMFB platform, we also get a little bit more assistant features because that is now doable on that platform. You can, for instance, plop it in with blind spot assistance on the side, which will warn you of, well, people on the side. And you, for instance, have lane assist. You have speed sign detection in here, which you can see here. That is a button. If you put on cruise control or so lane keeping assist, you can press that and it's going to adjust the speed that it shows. 120 right now is not accurate. It's actually 60. Let's see if it adjusts. 60. It should adjust down to 60. It does, and it's also going to give me a beeping sound probably in a second. You also have the basic stuff like rear view camera. I'll be honest, the rear view camera is not the highest quality. Let's actually quickly back into here and we'll show you real quick. And if you turn it into reverse, you'll see that quality is very, very bad. But you can also see, which is nice, you have the manual mode. I don't know, can you zoom it then? No, I guess. Okay, zoom automatic. That is nice. You have cameras on the side, which is very nice because you can see the tires in there, so you're not going to scratch them. If you go back now, you can see it does also have the lanes in there and everything like that, but the quality of that is very, very, very bad in my opinion. Steering wheel very light though and very indirect, which is nice in my opinion. This car, if you're getting the full hybrid, you're getting this car for the drive comfort and a little bit more of a smooth drive basically, and also fuel efficiency drive. You notice the engine kicked in right there, but still it feels very, very nice driving it. Also the suspension is a little bit more on the lighter side, feels very nice and comfortable. And one thing that is also new with the CMFB platform, the sound deduction or the sound has been reduced a lot, so the sound that you experience in the inside is a lot less than the previous one. Only once you're driving on the Autobahn like 120 stuff that you notice a lot on the A-pillar. But other than that, very, very nice. I mean, there's also a lot of things that are obviously new, like the U-clip system. If you want something more practical, you can clip those in, as you can see right there. For instance, you can put a light on there and stuff like that. If you want more information about that, obviously check out our whole video on the car in depth. The other thing that I gotta get used to the size of this. It just feels a lot more robust, like I already mentioned, but it feels a little bit more, it just feels bigger. I feel like I'm driving a little bit more of a bigger SUV compared to the Dacia Duster. It just feels a lot more bigger. But one thing I'll definitely say is that the drivetrain of this, especially in the city, feels very, very nice because you're driving full EV the whole time. And therefore, electric cars, electric cars, they are just very, very comfortable to drive in the city. So due to time restraints, we weren't able to film the English version of the off-road test, but we did still do it in German. So you'll see some clips of that in the background right now. We did drive the TCE 130 motor, which is the only naturally aspirated engine, which does also have a manual gearbox, and therefore is the only variant that you'll get with the all-wheel drive system. This is supposed to be a little bit more of the dynamic version, and you'll definitely notice that because the engine roars a lot more at maximum power. That is not because it's more dynamic. No Dacia Duster is supposed to be driven dynamic. It's more of just the way that the TCE 130 motor works. It doesn't have the full hybrid system, so you're just going to be a little bit more of a dynamic drive compared to a more comfortable drive with the full hybrid version. This one does start at 22,150 euros, and if you do decide to take this off-roading, you'll definitely notice a lot of changes. For instance, because we do have that all-wheel drive system, we will get a different design on the bumper in the front. That will improve our approach angle, which is now at 31 degrees for the front, 36 for the back, and a breakover angle of 24 degrees. One thing you'll definitely notice also is because there is no diesel engine anymore. If you are a person that wants a diesel engine, well, you're not going to be getting that anymore. And the other thing that you definitely notice is the way it performs on the off-road test. There is no problem with the car. It does it perfectly, and it definitely wasn't the most challenging off-road test that we did, but still, it managed to do everything that we wanted to do. It had a beautiful approach angle, and just the way it handles through the off-road capabilities of the car was surprising. We didn't expect to be so easygoing and just have no problems going through it, especially for the price that you're paying for this car. It is definitely something that you might want to look out for. So to sum it up for the 140 variant, well, it depends on if you want to pay that extra price of around 4,000 euros compared to the the 130 TCE, there we go. That really depends on if you want to use this car mainly in the city, therefore the consumption is going to go lower. WLTP claims a liter less than the TCE 130. You're paying 4,000 euros extra. The other thing that you get the automatic gearbox in here. So if you want that, obviously a little bit better, and you get a little bit of a different design. So it really depends on to your personal preference what you want, and if you have the extra cash that you can spend on the full hybrid variant. Still expensive for a Dacia Duster, but you can always get it below 19,000 euros. So if you want to get a little bit cheaper, obviously you still got the case, but this almost at that 30,000 mark, which is still below the 30,000 mark, so very good compared to competitors. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to like and subscribe. That would help a lot, and we'll see you next time. Bye bye.